Hello there. I welcome you to my YouTube channel. And this is Answering Difficult Bible Questions by Pastor Chidi Shekinah. Thank you for coming, visiting over and over again. I want to use this opportunity to thank many of you that have been writing me in the course of the weeks. Some of you write in course of the week. Some of you write to commend me. Others write to criticize me. Thank you so much for those emails that you're sending in. I like both because they're actually making me better. All right. So keep sending it in. Uh, uh, I They are so much encouraging to me. Actually means that people are listening to what I'm saying and people are watching and people are responding. They actually act as a feedback to me. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Today I'll be dealing with the subject of December 25th and when Jesus was born. So I'm looking at the topic, when was Jesus born? And I'm also looking at the topic December, or why December 25th. All right. Um, this was as a result of what Alice from Lagos sent me, an email she sent me. She said, Pastor Chidi, please help me answer these questions. When was Jesus born according to the Bible? If he was not born December 25th, why are Christians celebrating his birth on that date? Don't you think it is a sin to do that? Alice, thank you so much for asking. All right. Uh, we have all celebrated December to the Yuletide, December 25th. Uh, what a great celebration. What a time to remember. For many people, it's a time for homecoming. It's a time for the reunion of many families. So December 25th actually means quite a lot of things to a lot of people. So, but we're going to be looking at it. Historically, why that particular date and the controversies that have been built around that date, and also did the Bible actually tell us when Jesus was born? So let's look at what it is. Okay. Let me start by saying that the Bible did not give us the actual date of Jesus's birth. Yes, the Bible didn't give us the actual date. There are two reasons for this. Okay. The first is the theological reasons. The theological reasons is because Christians see as important, more important than any other thing, the crucifixion of Jesus, the atonement of Jesus on the cross, and how it provides forgiveness of sin and salvation for mankind. For Christians, that is the most important thing. It is not as though the immaculate conception or the birth of Jesus, the virgin birth of Jesus, is not important, or the date is not important. It's not as if the miracles are not important. The miracles, Christians are of the opinion that the miracles, I'm speaking from a theological point of view now, that those miracles that Jesus did, the virgin birth or the life of Jesus, his great teachings, will be meaningless if we cannot prove from historically that Jesus actually died and resurrected, and then his death and the atonement, his atoning work upon the cross of Calvary, is actually what leads to our salvation. That is what is most important for many Christians, and that is why emphasis was not actually placed on the date, or when and many other things. Emphasis were not actually placed, like relics. Emphasis was not actually placed on relics. Maybe the clothes that Jesus wore, or where Jesus lived, and all those things were not important to many Christians. Just like if you consider other religion, there is a particular, I think in India, or is it China, one of these, where the teeth of Buddha is preserved actually. So the reason for that was that religious without relics, it doesn't really go. Religious goes along with relics. So but there most of these things that apostles did not pay attention to them because those were not the most important thing then. The most important thing, theologically speaking, was the fact that Jesus died, the fact that his atoning work upon the cross of Calvary is what brings forgiveness and salvation for mankind. And that is why you will see that Mark, which is the earliest book of the earliest gospel that was written, actually concentrated more on the last week of the passion of the Christ. The last week of his death and his burial was more of the concentration of Mark. Another reason, that's for theological reason. Another reason was a literary reason. Of course, you will know that literally speaking, the historians of those days, in this case, the people who write biographies in those days, in this case, in the case of Jesus, it was this four men, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, okay, who wrote the biographies of Jesus. Okay, in those days, they don't have the literal sense like we have it today. The literal sense of apportioning uh, uh, the same time to the various aspects of the life of the man that you're writing on. Maybe his birth, his early childhood, his education, his no, they don't have that sense, okay? Or even quoting the person verbatim. They don't have that sense. They don't know how to arrange things in, they don't have that sense of arranging things in chronological order as we do today when we write history or we write the biographies of people, okay? So rather they concentrate on the only reason why they write history those days was for uh, for morals, okay? They concentrate on that part that will actually teach people uh, things, or that part actually that will teach people that is most significant. And for Jesus, the most important significant part about Jesus is the death of Jesus and his resurrection, his atoning work upon the cross of Calvary. That is why efforts were not actually made to point the date in which Jesus was born. But there are a lot of things that will help us, a lot of events, because the birth of Jesus is actually a historical event, okay? So there are a lot of things when we look at history and look at Bible history and documentations and look at some other things that happened around that time, and when we compare it to other historical work, we can actually point when Jesus was born. All right, okay, let's look at so many things that we've arrived at. Okay, history doesn't pinpoint Jesus's birthday, but there are some suggestions from the history and the Bible that helps us to estimate the date of Christ's birth. Okay, starting with Jesus was born in the spring. How do we know this? Because the Bible tells us that shepherds were washing their flocks at night, and this is when else are born their young. Okay, or bore their young. All right, and then in fact, around AD 200, that is the second century, theologians concluded that Jesus was born on May 20th. All right. Later on as the year passes by, there were other arguments that puts the date in April and March. What does that tell you? Nobody is actually sure, but what we have is an estimate of the time frame: May, April, May, March, and all that. That is within that particular period. Okay. Now, another issue we have here was that the early Christians actually emphasized on Epiphany. Epiphany is the baptism of Jesus Christ. So that they emphasize more on the baptism of Jesus than the birth of Jesus. But it was not until AD 385, that Pope Julius I actually put December 25th as the day of celebrating the birth of Jesus. And a lot of people have argued and said, why should this day be put? Actually, why Pope Julius I declared December 25th as the day to commemorate Jesus' birthday, not actually the day he was born, but the day to celebrate the birth of Jesus. Um, uh, Why he did that was he chose that date partly to challenge the pagan celebration of the Roman god Saturnalia, which was characterized by social disorder and immorality. Okay, when Christianity entered Rome, Rome was very heavy with paganism. Okay, and have many gods, just like the Greeks. So, but when Christianity penetrated Rome, one of the things that was happening was that they began to adopt Christian festivities to replace their pagan festivities and all that. And one of such was this particular one, December 25th, was used to celebrate the Roman god Saturnalia, which was characterized by social disorder and immorality. And many people are arguing and say, don't you think that that is exactly what is happening today? That during Christmas, December 25th, people use it to do all manner of things and all that. Well, it borders on what your understanding of the date. Okay, I need you to understand, or your understanding of the significance of the birth of Jesus. Having said this, there are other ways we can estimate from the Bible now when Jesus was actually born. All right, um, the Gospels, that is Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, uh, actually told us that Herod was living and slaughtered children after Jesus was born. You see that account in Matthew chapter 2, verse 16. Okay? And as it claimed, by chronologists to be a matter of record, that Herod died 750 UC, which is equivalent to BC 4. So, but we know that this event, the event of Jesus's birth, actually took place before the death of, understand that, before the death of Herod. Why? Because Herod was alive when Jesus was born. Why? Because it was Herod who actually ordered for the massive killing of children in order to get to Christ. Okay. Another thing that will help us to actually place the date is remember, according to Luke 2:1, that it was within the period of the census, the decree for census. From Tertullian, we learned that the decree was issued 748 UC, and enrollment began 749 UC, which we can put at BC 5. Thus, the birth of Jesus is fixed by those two occurrences. Yes, what are the two occurrences? The death of Herod and then the decree of, and these things were historical. Herod is a historical figure, well known, but in secular history, and also that decree that was made was also known historically. So, if we put these two dates, we can actually say that Jesus was born BC 5. BC 5. So, I hope I've been able to to answer your question, Alice from Lagos. Alice from Lagos. Thank you, please, for writing. Alice said, Pastor Chidi. He says, let me read that again. Pastor Chidi, please help me answer these questions. When was Jesus born according to the Bible? And if he was not born December 25th, why are Christians celebrating his birthday on that date? Don't you think it is a sin to do that? Now, coming to the question of don't you think it's a sin to commemorate the birth of Jesus in December 25th, simply because it used to be the date the Romans, okay, the Romans celebrate the Roman god Saturnalia. I don't think it's a sin, okay. The reason being that, number one, God creates every day. All day belongs to the God of heaven. All right? And then, if you also look at the rationale behind it, Pope Julius, who actually fixed that date, actually did that to replace the celebration of the Roman god, okay, to replace it. So for me, I think what is most important is not the date, but what is most important is the significance of the birth of Jesus. What does that mean to you? And moreover, we all know that Jesus was not born December 25th. There are other dates that has come up like May 20th, but none of them was in December. We know that Jesus was not actually born uh, May 20th or December 25th. Okay, but what is more important is what is the significance of the birth of Jesus in your life. If you celebrate the Yuletide, if you celebrate December 25th without understanding, I think that settles it. Thank you so much for writing, Alice from Lagos. Please always bring your questions and share what you've learned with your friends. Please, I want to plead with every one of you. Subscribe, please. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Subscribe and then hit the notification button, the bell. The reason for the notification bell is so that when we release any new video, you will be the first to know it. Thank you so much. And I remain Pastor Chidi Shekinah. God bless you. Amen.